Today, we're diving into a heartbreaking story out of Sydney that has sent shockwaves through the Indian community all over the world. It's the story of a tragic death, but it's also about the really complex, painful questions that come up when an accident, well, when it feels like it could be something much, much worse.
Before we get into any of the details, it's so important to just pause and remember who is at the heart of all this. Samanvitha Dareshwar. She was 33 years old, a wife, a mother to a little 3-year-old, and she was just weeks away from welcoming her second child. This is a profound human loss, and that's the only lens we can really use to view everything that comes next.
So let's start with the facts, with what we know for sure. What exactly happened on that street in Hornsby, Sydney? Well, the sequence of events is just brutally simple, and according to police, it was completely preventable.
So as you see here, Samanvitha and her family were just crossing the road. A driver in a Kia Carnival did the right thing, slowed down to let them pass. But then, a BMW sedan, apparently going at a very high speed, just slams into the back of that Kia. The force of that crash pushed the Kia forward, and it struck Samanvitha. She and her unborn child didn't survive.
And this story resonates so deeply with so many people because, in a way, Samanvitha represented a dream. She was a highly qualified IT analyst, a key part of that global Indian diaspora, building a new life abroad and contributing to her community. She was, doing everything right, just enjoying a simple evening walk with her family.
And this is where we get to the real heart of the issue, this central tension. On one side, you have the official investigation and the facts as they're being laid out. But on the other, there's this powerful emotional fear inside the community that this was more than just a random terrible accident. Now, this is a really crucial point. Let's look at what the police have actually done. The 19-year-old who was driving the BMW is facing extremely serious charges. We're talking dangerous driving occasioning death, and even causing the death of a fetus. So right now, the legal system is treating this as a severe traffic crime, not a hate crime.
This slide does a really great job of visualizing that gap between what people are feeling and the facts we have on the ground. You look at the left side. A speeding luxury car, a young driver, a visibly pregnant woman of color as the victim. And for many, that paints a picture that feels loaded with intent. But then you look to the right, to the evidence reported so far, and it points to a crime of negligence and recklessness, but with no identified racial motive.
And it is so important to say that this feeling, this fear, is valid. It's not coming from nowhere. As our source material points out, it's really no surprise that people's minds go there. When you see a constant pattern of stories about Indians being harmed overseas, an event like this doesn't just happen in a vacuum. That fear is a reaction to a much bigger picture.
So let's unpack that a little more. Why is this anxiety so powerful? Because even if this specific case is proven to be solely about reckless driving, the fear it has unleashed is absolutely real, and it comes from a place of genuine, lived experience.
You can really trace this fear back to 3 powerful forces. First, there's that steady drumbeat of tragic news involving Indian students and professionals overseas. It creates this sense of vulnerability. Second, for many in the diaspora, there's the daily reality of subtle racism and microaggressions. And third, there's this feeling of a power imbalance, a real worry that the system might not fight as hard for a migrant family.
And this question right here, it just gets to the absolute core of that anxiety. It's a question of trust. Is the life of a migrant, a person of color, going to be valued as highly by the justice system? That question is hanging over these entire proceedings, no matter what the final verdict ends up being.
Okay, so given how complex and emotional this all is, where should the community's energy and, frankly, its outrage be focused right now as the investigation is still going on? The answer seems to be on concrete, actionable demands that address the clear failures that led to this tragedy in the first place.
And here are 3 demands that really rise above all the speculation. Number 1, tackle reckless driving. That means getting serious about rules for young, inexperienced drivers, especially in these high-powered cars. Number 2, protect pedestrians. That means better city design, lower speed limits, and zero-tolerance enforcement. And number 3, demand transparent justice. We need clear communication and an affirmation that every single life holds the exact same value. These are public safety issues that help everyone.
This quote really just cuts right to the heart of it. In trying to get justice for Samanvitha and her child, the most powerful tool we have is the truth. Focusing on the verifiable facts, the speeding, the negligence,
That's the surest path to holding someone accountable without getting sidetracked by speculation that can't be proven.
When you step back, this tragedy in Sydney is a really painful reminder of a kind of dual reality. The world is more open to Indian talent than it has ever been, but that opportunity exists right alongside this persistent vulnerability. The fight for basic safety, for dignity, for equity, whether it's on the road or in society at large, is clearly far from over.
So we want to leave you with this final thought. This isn't just about one case in Sydney. It's about a fundamental principle. How do we, as a global community, build systems, legal, social, and even physical infrastructure that send a crystal clear message that every life, and that includes every migrant life, is absolutely 100% non-negotiable?